So I don't want to. I personally am not going to name a starting 11. Can you stop? I'm not going to name a starting 11 because it really doesn't make a difference. But it would probably be similar players with a different formation or something like that. So like, it doesn't make a difference to me. But I think with the players they have, they should be able to get it done. So yeah, maybe a spoil of riches, especially at right back. But that even makes it more that even makes it more unacceptable though. The fact that they have so much talent and they can't, they're struggling they're leaving good players out because they have other good players that they want to bring. And the fact that they're probably still not going to do anything. It's like I can't do it anymore. I feel like the Arsenal fan right now, like
who would you start at right back?
Huh?
Let's do this. Who would you start at right back?
Who would I start at right back?
Yeah.
Have to start Walker.
I would probably honestly I would have brought Aaron Wan-Bissaka as well. I don't know if I'd start him, but it would be between him and Alexander Arnold. He's obviously out, so there's nothing you can do about that. But it would be between those two. Because I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka is just a solid player.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, no Man U out there. I'm not a Man U fan, but I would have to agree with that. My opinion.
Because his games, I feel like, and that's where it was kind of weird how he brought Walker, Reece James. Trent's gone now. I think he just got replaced with Ben White. Yeah. And then, so I feel like he's bringing very similar right backs.
Yeah, he just brought the same player, like 3-4 versions of the same player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The strongest position.
Okay, what happens when you guys face Portugal or France, where you're most likely not going to have a lot of possession? You know what I mean? Where you're going to need a lot more defending.
Who is going to mark Mbappe?
Exactly.
Well, the way the schedule is set up, England would probably play for France in the finals now. That's so.
I think England faces.
If they make it to the final.
No, it's weird, right? Because
it's
So I think whoever comes first in Group F, whoever comes first in England's group plays someone from France's group. I think if England comes second, then they play a different group. This year is a bit weird how they're doing it this year. It's not going to be one group plays the other. It's a bit different, I would say.
How many teams are in the Euros this year? Because weren't they talking about doing like a new Euro format? I can't remember if it was for this one or maybe the
20.
next one. Huh?
There's 6 groups of 4.
Okay.
5 groups of 4, sorry.
5 groups of 4, okay.
6 groups of 4, so 24.
No, it's 6. It's 6.
6 groups of 4, 24.
Yeah, so it's the same as the last one, but there's that weird, like, because it's 6 groups, it's not just like a matchup. There's like a third person makes it in from a couple of groups. Sorry, Joel, go ahead.
No, there's a playoff for like 4 additional teams, basically. That rounds out 6 groups.
It's like what they did with the NBA. Wild card.
Yeah, basically.
They did it at the last Euros as well. Yeah. But yes,
that's right.
Okay,
by the way,
maybe
it's not an NBA. Sorry, go ahead.
Maybe I'm thinking of the World Cup then, because I remember they were thinking of expanding one of the international tournaments to like 48 teams or something like that.
28 for Qatar and then 32 for North America.
Okay.
The Super League is taking applications. The Super League's taking some applications.
Oh my goodness. What was you guys' take on, I know I had mentioned it in the group and Kels was trying to give Henderson the benefit of the doubt, but what's your take on Southgate taking 2 basically injured players to the tournament, because Maguire is still not fit, and then you have Henderson who has barely kicked the ball since March.
He didn't take Trent.
He's going for the leadership qualities of his. So what makes I'm just so curious to know. It's why couldn't you have taken like Lingard? Why couldn't you have taken someone else versus squeezing in players that are not fit? But Southgate says he's doing it based on form.
Let me just say, in my opinion, this might be a little biased. I'm not gonna lie, but in my opinion, I wouldn't take a fully fit Henderson. Okay, I just wouldn't. I don't
agree.
I wouldn't take a fully fit Henderson. I think there's
my language.
better players.
Hey, Kels.
I wouldn't take a fully fit Henderson. I think there's better players than him. I
agree.
It doesn't make sense to take Harry Maguire unless you can guarantee that he's going to be fully fit and, you know, sharp for it. And I don't see it. I don't see it just because of him coming off an injury. That's just the way it works. So to me, it doesn't make sense to take those two players. But, you know, again, this is why I have a problem with Southgate. It's just like, I don't know what goes on in his head when he makes these decisions or picks his teams, because there's other players that are on form that you could take and that will still do a job. You could give a chance to other people. Let's be honest. We're not going to win it, okay? We're not. Give a chance to some youngsters or something. I don't know. Why take injured players to the Euros?
Yeah. And especially like, because Maguire, you know, he probably has another Euros, you know, under his belt. Like, you can probably, because he's still young enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just doesn't make sense for me. Does anyone else want to chime in on that in terms of what you think, like Southgate was thinking by taking 4 right backs and basically leaving some talented players at home?
He's going to play with 2 defenders and 8 people in the midfield.
Yeah.
Literally, yeah.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah, it's probably going to be a back 3. That's the lineup, a back 3, and he's going to overload in mid, right? I mean, in fairness, like you know, like I support England. My dad's it's like England sort of like who we root for, right, internationally. This is probably one of the more talented teams that we're taking from a forward standpoint. You know, there's a lot of goals in this team, but I don't trust Southgate at all. I think Southgate is, you know, it's a shame that he's having the opportunity to sort of manage this team. You know, I think about, like, you know, someone like an Arsene Wenger, basically, right? I hate bringing it back to Arsenal, but he would, like, this is the team that he got his badges for, basically, right? Like, this is the team that he was just a team full of midfield riches, goals in midfield, you know, amazing, like, forward line full of like youth and like pace. And then you've got like one of the finest strikers in the world right now, Harry Kane, right? He will stay fit for the whole tournament, basically, because he can do 10 games, and then the things fall apart, right? So it's
Joel, sorry, I'm sorry, but you said midfield riches.
I think
you think this England team
more like forward heavy.
I'm sorry. I'm talking about more of the attacking mid. So
okay.
Like, I'm not. Okay. Yeah. So I'm talking more when sorry. Like, I meant more like goals for midfield. Like, I'm talking more like the forward, the attacking mid, right? Because like this team is going to basically overload mid. That's the setup that he wants to play, right? He's going to play a back 3, basically, in my opinion. That's going to be how he sort of sets up against Portugal and the likes of Spain, right? Because England's going to probably face one of those 2 teams right out of the group stages, right? So that'll be the interesting test. But I mean, from a squad depth, you know, you guys touched on it, right? I think England's one of the deeper teams going into this competition. I'd probably say, you know, maybe Belgium has a little bit more depth. Spain, even though they're taking a few less players, they have a very interesting makeup actually going into this competition, right? So to me, those 2 are like the wild cards in terms of depth. But in terms of talent, I still think France is the runaway, and Germany is a bit of a black sheep. You know, so like I think this is a talented bunch, but you know, the hype is in England. They're the favorites. They're probably not the favorites outside of England, right?
You said something that was interesting, that Belgium was quite deep. Where? Belgium has starting
everywhere apart from the defense.
I would say
even in the midfield. Even in the midfield. Like tell me who they have. Like, I honestly, I'm thinking about it, and I don't see who they have besides the starting 11.
We'll have to wait to see how De Bruyne does, actually, because that midfield could change very, very quickly.
And who replaces him?
Listen,
exactly. They're not that deep, man. Netherlands are deeper than Belgium.
That's a tough question to ask. You're basically saying the best player is out. Who replaces the best player in the team?
No, I'm not saying who replaces the best player in the team. I'm saying who replaces that position.
De Bruyne is the best player
on
that team.
Who's the next best person to replace that position?
Well, they can change their system if they have enough midfield players, I think. But I think what's happening amongst these teams is I feel like there is this massive gap in the holding role. Like England has that problem, Belgium has that problem to me, and so does Spain, so does Portugal. Like there's this whole thing. It's there's an overload of attacking talent, but it's just not a lot of teams that are actually balanced, right?
Spain has two, right? They have Busquets and Rodri. I mean, Busquets is got COVID, but they have Rodri, right?
I just had to giggle at the mention of Busquets.
You know why I said that, right?
In 2021,
Rodri. Yeah, sure. Ramos was too old and useless, but Busquets, let's bring him. Yeah. Let's bring him. I mean, there's the Madrid side coming up, I think, a little bit, not so much, but that's that. Anyhow, I think there's a lot of teams with a lot of attacking talent, but I think a lot of teams are just hurting from the number 6 back. We have good goalies, but then that first third, I think this is where England is going to go down. I think this is where I feel like a lot of those smaller teams can because they just they have basically a bunch of 7s across the team, and then you have a bunch of teams who have 9s in the top final third, and then 5s in the bottom half, and I think that's kind of where the balance is gonna shift a little bit. And France is just France is just really lucky that they have the Conte Pogba pairing back there is kind of ridiculous,
and that's even before you bring up Camavinga, right? And then behind them you have Koundé, you have Varane, you have you got people, right? France, if France loses this, they fully underperform. Deschamps should be fired before the next World Cup. It is incredible. It's actually even worse than Belgium losing in the World Cup in Russia. In my opinion, even though people think Belgium should have won somehow.
Belgium still has Vermaelen on their roster. Really?
Yeah, well, that's because Van Dijk is injured, right? They had to bring somebody back, right?
Van Dijk is Dutch. Vermaelen. What is?
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Is it Alder? What's
Alderweireld and Vertonghen?
They have Vertonghen, Alderweireld, but why is Vermaelen still? Where does he even play, Joel? I don't.
It's like Henderson. He's there for the morale in the locker room.
No. Stop it, please. Stop insulting Henderson, guys. He's not still at Barca. No, I think he's in Russia.
I mean, now he's at the Euros, so.
So just to find out, before we leave England and move to Group F, I want to talk about Group F as well, because I think that's the group of death, if you want to call it that, in terms of France, Germany, and Portugal. Which I don't. You guys haven't mentioned Portugal, but I think Portugal is. I think after France, I'll be nervous for Portugal, but.
If sorry, I'm just saying I'm putting up my hand to respond to your question. I'm just letting you finish though.
Yeah. Okay. To respond to the question. Okay. For England, who would you guys? Because I know there's a lot of debate of will Sterling start over Grealish, Sancho, Rashford. What would be your preferred front three to start for England?
Before the English fans talk, I just want to say England's problem is going to be coming into form during the tournament. Like you said, you have two people who are not fit to be, and then you have Sterling who wasn't fit in the end. You have Sancho who has not been fit all year, right? You have Kane who needs to really not get injured, And I mean not an injury. I mean not even a tweak, right? In order for that fire form to progress through. And then you have a Reece James who just barely came into form at the end there. Like England's problem is going to be coming into form, and I think ultimately Jadon Sancho playing as a winger will hurt you more than playing him in the midfield as an attacking mid. I don't.
Ooh.
I don't. Yeah. I only say that because Jadon Sancho needs touches on the ball. And sure he can attack through the wing. Hazard can attack through the wing. But their mentality is multiple touches. And I think if Southgate doesn't give him that role, it's going to hurt England more if he's on the field. And so if it was me, I would play what he's been playing. You play Sterling, you play Kane, and I don't know, find some other winger to play.
Kayo Saka.
No. You can't play Sterling. You can't play Sterling. Sancho has played more games than Sterling and has better stats than Sterling this season. If Sancho's been out of form, Sterling's been more out of form. In my opinion, anyway.
No, Sancho isn't out of form. He's just been inconsistent. That's really it. He hasn't
Sterling has been
standard.
More inconsistent than Sancho has. This is just my perspective. Is you bench Sterling, like you do not start him unless you bring him off the bench and let him earn his keep. He does not. To me, he does not get a guaranteed start. I would play Kane for sure as number 9. I will play Sancho as your either left or right wing. I guess he plays better on the right. I guess. And I would figure out somebody else on the left. I think Grealish should not play on the wing. I think he should play as a cam or center attacking mid. And then you just figure out, I think England's biggest problem is who is going to anchor that team. Like who is going to be the number 6 for them?
Yeah.
I would say what's his name? Rice. Declan Rice. But
some say Rice. Some say Hendo. That's up for grabs.
It's not going to be Hendo.
No one that isn't wearing a Rockaware shirt says Hendo.
I refuse to watch any game where Henderson is starting. I'll turn off my TV. Okay. I'll watch Latvia versus San Marino before I watch that.
Yo, don't hate on Latvia, fam.
But
don't hate on mighty Latvia, fam.
Play Rice. I don't like his face. It looks like Dracula to me, which is neither here nor
and
there.
then you have Morrison, right? I think from Leicester City. That's the other holding mid. I don't know if he made it. I'm asking.
The problem with England,
Calvin
I feel like is like that starting lineup. It's gonna be like the first time they're playing together. Really, like who is England's like first 11? Like I feel like every other team they've kind of worked it out. Like England has the talent, but it's just like they've like just over rotated for a very long time, and it's kind of weird.
It's so annoying as well. Like you look at the teams that we've had in the past, and it's like, how haven't they won anything?
Yeah.
How haven't they won anything? Even this team right now, there's so many talented players. Like that, and I think that's what really, really frustrates me about it is that they really, really should have by now. And like this, it's not even necessarily them, playing really, really well and losing where you can just be like, okay, fair enough. 9 times out of 10, they usually bottle it themselves. They're like an international Tottenham. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like it's so frustrating.
I think it's a combination of. I think it's a lot of pressure, right, from the fan base. I think 1, and then 2, you have. I think the coaches that England seems to go for. I just don't. I always question it. You guys have never really gone for the top international managers, and I think that's also another issue as well. And I think like you said, it's a bit different now because when you talk about when you listen to the ex pros like your Rios, Scholes, all those guys talk about Steven Gerrard, how they talked about how in the canteen. They didn't actually like sit together, but now you can see Mace, Declan Rice, Grealish. They're all friends. So I think that could definitely help England a lot more now.
Yeah.
I think that's where you guys stand a chance.
To be fair, and judging that Rio's had like United is miles ahead of Liverpool, even though Liverpool was missing half of. I just all I'm trying to say is I don't know how much value I place in these people's reviews, because it's one thing to be able to strike a ball into the top of the net or to be able to slide tackle. It's a whole other thing to be able to actually like analyze stuff. And like the Gerrard, like that team, that Lampard, Gerrard,
Be back in a second.
Beckham team. It was just like it's the same issue of like England. I feel like what England has missed for the past 20 years, I'd say, since I've been conscious of watching soccer, is they just don't have an anchor. Like they don't. It's the same thing. Like Gerrard, how do you a midfield with Joe Cole, Beckham, Gerrard, and Lampard? Yes, those are really good players.
What was Scholes on that? I think Scholes was playing wing too at some point.
Yeah, Scholes and Joe Cole were basically Joe Cole wasn't starting. So it was Lampard, Gerrard, Beckham, and Scholes. I'm like, I have no issues understanding how that team didn't win anything, because like you should have picked just because you have a bunch of ballers doesn't mean that you have to play them all you just need to pick the right person in each position. And so I feel like England used to fall into this trap of playing names. And then now they actually have like better ballers, I'd say. But there's just no balance on the team. I don't know how to explain it other than saying that. I feel like they constantly put up these teams where they have a lot of talent, but then the teams, they rotate so much on the path to get in there. And then once they get there, there is just no balance. It's like, yeah, you had Rio Ferdinand and John Terry. Those are both sweepers. Right? Like they're both everybody's really good at playing the exact same roles. And then you just kind of like play the same player in multiple places. But you're a really good player, but you're playing like half the team out of position. That's my whole thing with Indy.
People. And I think Saka is that kind of player too, when that comes to mind, whereby it's like I don't think we even know Saka's best position, because he's
Joel knows.
In my heart.
Just before Joe gets there, just before Joe gets there, I think it's Faden. That's how you say his name. So this is his first 11 for England. Thank you for putting a comment there. So his first 11 is Henderson, Walker, Maguire, Stones, Shaw, Foden, Rice, Mount, Sancho, Kane, and Grealish. That's a pretty strong starting 11. I think probably Mount and Rice would probably be the pivot.
It's playing 4-2-3-1,
and then Foden would be basically the cam.
Sorry, who?
I don't know.
Rice, Foden, and Mount.
Yeah. So this formation,
it's a 4-2-3. It's a 4-2-3-1, I think.
Yeah. But who's the two? Rice and who?
So it'll be Rice and Mount.
Rice and Mount. They're both attacking.
What do you mean?
Mount and Foden are both attacking mid.
I know Rice
is
Grealish.
Can't be Foden.
No, they're playing 4-1-4-1, man. Like this is the problem with Kelechi's been talking about.
He can play box to box. Sorry, go ahead.
No, he cannot. Dude does not play box to box.
He's got the energy too, right? And that's what he's
just young. He's just young. Doesn't mean he has the brain, right? Chelsea can never. What do you mean? He had Conte. When has Mount ever had? He had Conte, Jorginho, and he had Kovacic. When has Mount ever had to track back so hard?
Yeah, Rice would play anchor.
Right.
And I'm going on a limb here, but I think because of the other
4-1-4-1.
No, I think Foden probably plays box to box in this formation. He can do it better than Mount. I mean, it's not Foden's ideal position. I
think Foden would be like
neither of their ideal position.
The false nine, I would say.
They might alternate. They might alternate, right? Where you have this sort of back. If one is up, one is back. One is up, one is back. The Kroos Modric scenario. Once they both got to that point.
Yeah. I mean, I think Foden's probably got the intelligence and the IQ to pull that off. I don't think Mount does. So that's
fair.
This formation though, when you look at this formation and you just see the names and you don't think about the formation and the tactics, it just speaks to what Kelechi just said, right? This is a team of talent, but when you actually put all the pieces together, it's like it's the same pieces, so they don't fit into a full puzzle, right? It's like you've got the same pieces, right? So like Mount and Foden, technically the same players. Foden's probably a lot more talented right now, right? So who's the anchor? Rice? Sure, you can give him a shot. And then you have the same problem up front, right? Sancho and Grealish. Maybe Grealish should play attacking mid and Sancho should be on the wing. But again, they're probably going to get in each other's way a bit, right? So, like, to me, looking at this formation as a whole, the only players here that are like, surefire to kind of start on this team when fit, Kane, number 9, and I don't see the goalkeeper here. Is that no?
Henderson, Dean Henderson.
Oh, Dean Henderson. Sorry.
Yeah, Dean Henderson. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I saw Henderson and I thought that was Hendo. Wait a second.
No. Fidan, he would have put Hendo instead of Henderson. Let's be very real.
Just to say, what would you guys take out and replace from this lineup?
Mount.
If you were Southgate.
Mount for Hendo, Kel?
Mount for anybody else that is an anchor. I think
there is nobody else.
I feel like Joel
play
and
Calvin Phillips. I'll play Calvin.
Yeah, just Phillips.
I would play Calvin. Honestly,
I was obviously gonna say Hendo, but I don't want to get crucified for that anymore, so I'm off the Hendo tip. But anybody else who plays a 6, quite frankly, I think. Sorry, Joel. I think I cut you off. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, right, I like you probably play 3 at the back, and then in front of them you play Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice, and then in front of them, this is where it gets tricky, right? Like you could probably play Grealish and then Sancho, Sterling on the wing, and Kane in front of them. I don't know. I mean, Foden probably deserves a shout too. He's had a pretty solid season, right? But I think you're right. You guys have hit it on the head, right? England has a problem in that anchor role, and I think the best way to solve that is to play a back 3 and play 2 in front of them. So ideally,
what 2 would you play in front of them?
Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice. Those are the 2. Those are the 2 that
name from Bellingham from what's it called?
Dortmund.
Dortmund, but he's an attacking mid, right?
He's another like Sancho, essentially.
Exactly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like I think
very raw.
I wouldn't start Foden. I wouldn't start Foden right away, to be honest.
You wouldn't start Foden? Is this the man? Okay, guys, we're gonna have to take that.
No. I feel like it's just because I want him to maybe. I feel like he needs to come into the tournament. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like he should start the first couple of games. I feel like he should come off the bench and kind of like show what he's got first.
Who was a better central attacking-minded midfield player than Foden that England has currently?
I would put Grealish in there.
Grealish hasn't played in like.
Yes.
I
guess it's a hard one because Grealish he's a free roam kind of player. He's not a. Yeah,
I think the problem with Grealish, I think Kelechi might have been trying to get at this. He hasn't played at that point, right? He hasn't played at that level, right? I think.
Man, he's been injured for the past like 4 months. Like he's
coming off the back of 2 good seasons, but he's finished the season poorly. But that's through injury, right? I think Foden's the number 3 name on the starting 11 after Kane and the goalkeeper. That's to me. Like,
Kane writes himself. Henderson as a starting goalie, I feel like Fidden might be a Man United fan. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, he put Foden there though, and Grealish and Mount. I don't think those. Okay, Shaw was the one in United. He didn't even put Rashford in there, so it's definitely not a United.
No,
fan.
But like Rashford, come on, nobody's gonna legitimately justify Rashford starting on this England squad. Coming off the bench for sure, in my opinion, anyways. But starting is.
Rashford feeds the kids, okay? Rashford feeds the kids. He deserves a starting spot.
By kids, he means Saka.
Okay, yeah. So
listen. I think what we're basically saying, right, is this is a very talented squad, but they're not balanced, and I think that's going to be the challenge. But this Euros is also setting up very interestingly because some of the top teams are also not balanced outside of France. I think France is on another tier. Like they're on a tier of their own, basically. They're like Super League level, right? And then you have all these other teams, basically. That you have like the Europa sort of teams, right? Where England is, near the top, but doesn't say much, right? There's no balance.
I would put 3 national teams ahead of England, and that doesn't include France. England's balance problem will be the end of them because they'll face a team like Scotland in their group who has performed very well and will get handled because Scotland is just going to wait, and then break. And because you don't have that person in the middle, as Tuchel taught us, yes, I'm giving props to Tuchel, you need a holding midfield player if you're going to get counterattacked. And the problem with Southgate, to my boy in the red here, the problem with Southgate is this. He's trying to play this Pep Guardiola style of we move the ball around, we take up all this possession. That's what crippled them in the last World Cup. They got beat on counters. They got destroyed on counters. And so my problem is if you don't have a handle that is fit, or you don't have somebody who can actually sit there, maybe Phillips can do it. Maybe we're going to see a Phillips come to form or whatever you want to call it. But the 3 teams I would put ahead of England is Belgium, right? It's Netherlands, and it's Italy. And Italy, for me, is the underdog that nobody's talking about. These guys have scored 72 goals, guys, 72 goals, and have conceded the least. Unbeaten. They're unbeaten in like some stupid amount of games. And they are so
my dark horses.
Balanced. So. They have veterans, they have the future, and they have current people. And so for me, I would put those 3 teams, of course, France, those 3 teams. If I follow my boy Joel's analogy here, the Super League, France, the 3 teams in Champions League, and then you have England who tops the Europa. And I think England, the way they're trying to play and the lack of balance, their susceptibility to counterattacks is going to hurt them. Because one thing we didn't talk about in Feeding's, I'm sorry for butchering your name, man, lineup is you're starting Maguire, who isn't fit. What's going to happen when you're getting counterattacked with nobody to protect them?
I'm still kind of curious to see that Maguire and Stones partnership, man. It's just going to be another Linda Soft and Maguire all over again.
To me,
Soft, I love it.
To me, Maguire is head and shoulders above Stones. It sucks that he's not fit. Stones is just Stones reminds me of like a Arbeloa. If I don't know if you guys heard him from Madrid. From Madrid, but
he was Real Madrid, right? Yeah.
Yeah, just these types of players were sure, they'll show up on one day and
their bodies.
Yeah, they'll clear the ball off the line against Barcelona in the final minute this one game, but then the remaining 37 games of the season, they're just
David Luiz.
I feel like
he'll clear the ball on the line in that one game.
He's a tier lower though. He's also going to get you 7 red cards. So
he might score 3 free kicks in the season as well too. Yeah. David Luiz, he gave us something.
John Stones doesn't have that going for him though.
Well, I guess that's fair. Yeah,
doesn't even have the free kicks going for him. It's what is he there for? He literally is a body.
Maybe 1 header in the entire season,
or that one long pass, to the wing.
Just pass the ball to Edison. He's that's better. He's dropping those nonstop, right?
That's true. Yeah.
So I think, in my opinion, I actually think England is I think England should. So okay, so I feel like I'm playing devil's advocate a lot tonight, and with England, which is weird because this is a team that I've not liked. I just don't like England, period. Charles, I'm really sorry. It's nothing personal.
No, it's cool. I don't like Real Madrid, so
Fair. I like that. Okay, so it's the whole thing where it's like, to me, England is. I think it's just France and Germany that are better than England, quite frankly. Because Joel made an excellent point, in my opinion. Like, every team is wildly unbalanced, and if you look at the talent profile across the board, I really do think this is, to me, the most talented England team I have ever seen. In terms of, like, there's versatility. They have different types of players. Like, yes, they got 7 versions of the same right back for some reason. But everywhere else, though, I feel like there is a lot of complement. And there's a lot of people that are comfortable on the ball, which I don't think I've seen in most other England teams. Like, I feel like this is a team that has the most creators, as opposed to just like, okay, like, hit it out wide, bring it in, and head it into the net. Like, that whole formation, I feel like is switching. And so in that regard, I don't see I'm not on the board of, like, I actually like Southgate. I think he's one of the best managers England has had, quite frankly, because to me, it's like he's pushed the envelope more than everybody else. Everybody comes in and it's like, who are we comparing him to? Like,
can I ask you?
Please.
Can I ask you a quick question? Based on, you said he's one of the best England managers that we've had. Are you basing that on his results as England manager, or like his credentials versus other previous managers that we've had?
So it's a mixture. His results for sure, but what's really driving my whole thing is what he's doing. So it's kind of a gift and a curse, because I like that he has rotated the thinking. So he has brought in different types of players. Like, he hasn't just brought in the usual mold of players. Like, right? Like, we're gonna play 4-4-2. We're gonna play it out wide, bring it in, and then hit it through the middle and wait for set pieces. So I like that he's brought in, like, creative players. And I think you can't discount his results. But the main thing I like is that he's challenged the status quo in terms of phasing out old players who were bona fide players, but encouraging creativity, or at least trying it out. Because I think that's the only way England is gonna win. Like, it's like they have to use the new blood, part of my colloquialism, but and I think so I actually don't subscribe to the thing of, like, how is he worse than anybody else before him? Everybody else would just bring in Beckham and Gerrard and Lampard and just wait for them to win, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, they were picking names. Yeah, picking names instead of. But I think also what has helped England as well too is the crop of international players that have come into the league as well, and you also seen a lot of the young British players going overseas to, the ones that, for whatever reason they can't make it at a young age in England. They're going elsewhere to practice their trade, and I think that can only and also the foreign managers that are in the EPL as well. I think a combination of all three is really what is helping England now. Like we said,
so
we're now
are you saying
versatility now in the players that are coming up for England?
So you're saying the talent pool, like, as a result of the EPL just basically being more international, the talent pool in England is more diversified. So you're saying Southgate just has more talent available, and so his results are a result of his increased talent pool?
I think it's like a combination of like I'm not discrediting what you're saying that he's done in terms of having the because, like you said, he could have all that talent but still not pick them. Like, I know that was a huge thing with him and Grealish. I don't think he likes Grealish that much, and there's always been a debate of, is Grealish going to be picked for England and stuff like that. But I think that has really helped him to get to where he is now. Is, the culture is different, like we were saying, whereby they're all playing FIFA together. They all grew up together, like Declan, Mount, they all like grew up together. Sancho, Foden, Rashford, they're all friends, right, from Manchester. So
my question is like, because I want to understand the argument against him, right? Because I'm obviously, like, tunnel vision, but I want to understand, like, what am I like? I guess everybody here doesn't like him. So, like, what is it about?
Yeah, I honestly don't really have anything against him, to be honest. I just hear a lot of the English fans say that he's like my boy Flawless would say, you know, Southgate is Ole in the waistcoat. So that's so I don't know. Like, I think Charles has a better. Charles should be able to explain that better, but.
I mean, depending on how you feel about Solskjaer, that might be fairly accurate for you, Josh. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. He's a type of the man dresses like Pep and manages like Harry Redknapp. You know, that's I don't know any other way to put it. I think Solskjaer is a great manager, a decent manager, so I won't compare the two. But I don't. He's not a manager that you can really see winning anything. You know, like if with I don't really know how else to put it, but I don't. First of all, I don't know how he got the job. I don't know how he got it. I know he was the U21 manager, and then I think something happened. But like, I feel like there's so many other managers that we could have chosen. You know, we had
it was a panic call, right? It was like, what was it, Big Sam?
Yeah,
hello, guys.
Gambling right before, like he got recorded, like gambling on the players before he was picking them.
Yep.
A couple of weeks before the tournament, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna fire you. We're gonna just appoint you." I feel like that's kind of how it happened.
Yeah,
that's how it felt like. Anyways, sorry, go ahead.
But that's the thing, though. Like, I feel you said it like a panic choice. Like, number one, that almost never works unless you're Chelsea, and you know, it just really, really frustrates me that there's so many other managers. Like, because earlier you said that like Southgate was one of the best or the better managers that we've had. You know, I feel like we've had better managers that just for whatever reason haven't done as well. Like, you know, Fabio Capello won a Champions League. You know, no one's going to sit here and tell me that Gareth Southgate that managed Middlesbrough is better than Fabio Capello, you know? So it's just for him, I just don't see him as a coach that's really there to win anything. I feel like he's one of those coaches where it's like, yeah, you know, I'm here to, you know, give the young players a chance and try my luck, you know? So I really don't know any other way to put it. And that's fine if you are the U21 coach, but you're not. You're the first team coach now. And that's what really, really frustrates me about him. He's just not going to win anything anytime soon.
So just to play devil's advocate, you know, just to take on the role of my boy Kels real quick, and kind of just balance this up, because I think you guys have kind of said different things, but came to a good point, which is one, who else, you know, and two, it makes sense with the fact that there isn't names right now in England. There's no real names. Everybody's either coming or has gone, right?
Yeah.
And so it makes sense that your under 21 coach, who has coached all of these guys who are up and coming, to now bring them up through. And to your point, Charles, perhaps he is that transition, but and maybe make or bust, right? But it gives that consistency for the up and coming guys in terms of training, in terms of expectations, in terms of management, right? So they can still be boys, like Josh was saying. They can still be boys, but then they can still go out there and perform because they know the system. And to your point, you know, the Middlesbrough system, sure. But it's nonetheless there is some logic in there, and so I you know, again, Kel, I'm not an anti thing. The only manager in the world I hate on is Tuchel, for the record. Just so we know. Any other manager that I hate, it's just Pep Guardiola, because, you know, Real Madrid, Barcelona, that's it. Those are the only two managers in the world that I hate. And Tuchel, I will admit, I must say it here because I didn't say it last time, I'm hating. I have no reason to be hating on him. He's proven himself. this year. Anyways, that I felt like I needed to say that. But again, I think it's the best decision for what you have and for what you guys are trying to get to. Because really, the Qatar World Cup, I think that is the point. That is when you guys will break through. As it is right now, this is just a transition. You guys need to connect the future with the past. And Southgate is that consistency for the future. So that's the logic I see in it all. And I don't hate him. I don't think he's an Ole in a waistcoat. even whoa.
So
sorry, we got hooligans in my neighborhood.
No.
Go ahead, Charles.
So to that point, I 100% agree with everything you just said, if I'm being honest. But as U21 coach, his record, I don't think he won anything when he was U21 coach. And if he is going to be that transition or, that bridge to help bring the younger players up into the first team, he would make a phenomenal assistant manager. He'd make a phenomenal assistant manager. I don't want it to be like, oh yeah, I hating on Southgate because he hasn't managed anyone other than Middlesbrough and U21s. Like, I'm hating on him because I just don't see a plan, really.
Yeah.
I don't see a plan. I don't know why. I don't know why you would bring 4 right backs to play a tournament of 8 games or something, or 12 games, maximum. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why I don't know many teams that have 4 right backs, it's I don't know.
Could it be your left back situation? Could it be your left back situation that you only have Shaw? And I mean, some of those right backs might be ambidextrous to play on the left. Because really, your left back situation is just Shaw, right? Otherwise, you're playing 3 in the back. So I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Well, if that is it, then fair enough.
I think it's I think we're all at this point. It's like a kumbaya moment, right? We've all overlapped enough with the gray zone. But I think Jeff did nail it, though. I think it's just of the options that are available, given that England has this innate deference to an English manager managing an English team. Mm-hmm. It's I just don't know who else would have been available. I mean, if you go get Lampard, but then you don't want that hexagon either, because that's a whole different story. But I think that's what, if England would just national teams need to just take a step back and just be like, yo, we're just going to treat it like clubs and just get the best manager to manage our teams where we have the best players. They just need to do that, because it's not just we don't really have an option, right? So that's a whole different thing. But I feel like that's because even France does the same thing, right? Everybody defers to coaches of the same nationality. South America, they just don't care. They just do
Belgium.
Belgium. Belgium, they just won silverware aggressively.
With
the new Etihad, right?
England did the whole foreign coach thing with Capello.
They went for the wrong one. One. Capello is super defensive. He coached Madrid twice, and watching him, yes, you can win a tournament, but it's it's just Mourinho without him cussing out his players in public. That's Capello.
Or the
quite
goals.
Frankly. Sorry?
I said, or the goals, because Mourinho gives you goals.
Yeah. Capello is literally you're gonna win, but it's going to be 1-0 the entire way.
Did Capello coach Italy?
Yeah.
He seems like an old school Italy type of coach.